Hey crafters, this is Paulette. It is time for October's name tag. We're going to make this really cute little tag right here with the cat in the window. This is from a really cool stamp set. It's this set right here. And it is from Inkadinkado, and it's called Creepy Lane, number 60-30185. I just love these images, and I thought the cat in the window with the pumpkin would be perfect. So we're going to stamp that in some Memento black ink, and I'm going to use my Martha Stewart stamp press for that. I'm using the heavyweight white cardstock from the Paper Studio, and I'm just looking here. I want to stamp on the smooth side of the cardstock. These are cut to 2.5 by 3 1/4, which is what fits in my little name badges from Walmart. They come separately. The little plastic pouch is in a package, and then these little clips are in a package. 12 per package for around $2. So for about $4 you can make name tags for about 12 people. We're going to use Ranger Archival Jet Black ink for the October. We're going to use Memento to stamp our cat window. And then we're going to use some Copics and one Bic Mark, the Cloud 9 Gray in the Bic Mark. We're going to use YR68, Y32, Y26, R12, YG06, G07, B0000, and R17. And I have the blender pen here just in case we have any boo-boos. And then we're going to use the months of the year. We're going to use October for our month. So let's get stamping. We'll do our cat first. I just find it easier when you're using a big stamp press just to turn it upside down and ink it this way. And then you can also tell if you're getting ink on here. Now I did have to sand this stamp a little bit, and the ink is still pooling up on it, but I think it'll do fine. I had to sand it a couple of times with a fingernail file, and it does fare. Once you color it in, it's really beautiful. So just line it up and smoosh it down. And now we can stamp our month of October, selectively inking just the O, C, and T, which is really tough. You know what? Let's just get some tape. Because these letters are tucked really close together on these month stamps, it's really hard to ink up without getting that fourth letter. So if you just make a little mask for yourself that I can tuck right inside the T, see that? And I'll need one more. And I'm just using some painter's tape for that. Put my other scrap right there. This just makes it a little bit easier. And you don't have to be so careful with it. And I'm going to stick that waste piece on my trash can. Okay, and just stamp this down. It looks like I got a little bit of ink anyway. So we better have a wet wipe. I got a little bit of ink on the O after the T anyway. So we'll just clean that up a little bit. And I'll need to stamp it off on a scratch piece before we go any further. And I'll try a little bit better on this one. Alright, I think that'll do it. see how we did. All right, there's a perfect one. Now typically I like to stamp and let these dry a little bit. I know you can go right to coloring, but I've got two that I've stamped previously. I just feel like the ink is set a little bit better if you let it rest for a little bit. We're going to do the moon first, and I'm going to use the brush tip on all of these and just brush that into the ends of the moon. And since we're just doing a couple, I'm going to go ahead and do both of them at the same time. I do usually assembly line, but when you're doing with your Copics and you want them to blend, you need to do just 2 or 3 at a time. That way you still get that really good blendability with the markers. Because if you let them dry too long, in between, they just don't blend that well. They soak into the cardstock. Well, I got a little wild there. So we'll come back and use the blender pen in a minute, and we'll clean that up. All right, let's do the pumpkin next. I'm going to use these 3 together. The R12 is my highlight. The YR68 is going to be the main body of my pumpkin, and the R17 is going to be the darkness on the bottom and the very top of my pumpkin. I like to take my lightest color first and just put my highlight on there. And I'm going to take this dark one and put just, you know, right there where that comes out at the top. And then a little bit down here at the bottom. And then we're going to take our mid-tone and color all around that, just catching the dark and pulling it upward and pulling it downward. And try to still leave your space for your highlight. Just letting the inks do their magic. That is the coolest thing about these, is their blending capability. I love it. I love it. Okay. Let's go ahead and throw a little bit of this blender pen on here where I got a little crazy on the moon. And that can go ahead and be drying. I'm not coloring anything in there on the inside of the moon, so those can dry, and if they don't go all the way, we can come back and touch them up a little bit. Let's see, I'm missing a marker. I'm missing the neutral 0 gray. So I'm going to grab that. I've been playing a little bit, so I must have put that away. I'm going to go around the outside of the window with this, just because it's kind of a wrought iron looking window. All the way across there, and then on each of these crossbars. This is such a light color. I really need a couple more of these grays. Okay, let's go ahead and do our leaves. And I'm going to start with the dark first, just at the base, just touching down just a little bit at the base of these leaves. Just a dot will do it. Oh, and I missed that little leaf that's up here close to the window. It almost looks like it's part of the window. And then the lighter green, just to fill that the rest of the way out. Okay, I got a little sloppy on that one, so we may have to do a touch up. They're really tiny areas. We're going to take this very pale blue and just go in each corner and down the edge of the window. So for me, it was just easiest to go ahead and make that little arch and then come back and fill it in. And this is going to look kind of bright right when you do it, but this dries so pale. Now I'm going to make that little curve here towards the pumpkin, and then get that little corner under him. And then I'm going to come up between the cat and the pumpkin just a little bit, and then fill in these spaces under the cat and the cat's tail, and then right here at the back of the tail, and then that last little bit right there. Just to give a little bit of maybe shade and depth in there. I probably should have used a deeper color, but I was afraid. I was afraid. Oh my goodness. It's the truth. It is the truth. As sad as it may be. There's really no right or wrong, so that's why I laugh at myself that I was afraid. I don't know. Why do we do that to ourselves? I don't know. It's just playing. I don't think you can make a mistake. The important thing is to play. To play and to enjoy playing. Okay, so there's that. And then we're going to use this Bic gray for our cat. I'm going to go back here on my moon with the blender pen and just swipe over that one more time. This one's not too bad. And I did get outside the line with the green just a smidge. Okay. For the cat, I'm going to kind of say less is more. I chose to use the gray because I felt like black would be just too dark. And I still wanted the cat to show up, but be kind of shadowy. So I'm going to go around the outsides, down his back and down his tail, and then around the face, and get this front leg. And then the back leg and the back haunch. I'm going to leave just a little bit of white space inside the leg. And then the same thing up here at the head and a little bit at the shoulder. And then just color in the rest of that. And then I'm going to right away take the lighter gray, the number 0 gray, and just go right over all of that. And instantly you will see, and just kind of down his back, and you'll see how that will blend that out and just make a nice, some nice depth to the cat. I almost think that's easier than putting the ink on and then trying to take the ink off. Okay, and we're going to do it again. The light gray. And if you have to, I got into the leg a little bit there. Go ahead and blend down towards that. Sometimes you get that little, what do you call it? It's like when you're doing watercolor and you get that bloom. They call it a bloom, where the color just creeps and leaks out. So not too bad. Yeah, they turned out pretty good. Now you can always go back and do a little bit more red on your pumpkins if you want to, but I think these, I actually like the one on the left. It's got a little bit more red than the one on the right. But it's up to you, however much time you have to spend. If you like to blend and blend and blend, you can keep adding and blending. For me, for good results, it's better if I just hurry. If I just hurry and then try to leave it alone, because I will mess with stuff to the point of ruining it. So if you have any questions, be sure and let me know.